Hi everyone, this is Maki, and thank you for watching this video. Today's topic is Wabi-Sabi. Wabis and Sabis are traditional Japanese aesthetic sensibilities that find beauty in imperfection and in the transience of all things. More specifically, Wabi refers to quiet, humble simplicity, while Sabi points to dignity and beauty that emerged from the passage of time. Both stand in contrary of luxury or perfection, valuing instead the natural flowers of change, and in the way that things simply are. Although the two words are lumped together, Wabi and Sabi had different meanings, in fact. So today, I'd like to explain these Japanese words, Wabi-Sabi. First, we'll look at Wabi, then Sabi, and how Wabi and Sabi are living in the ordinary people. So, let's get started. According to dictionary definition, Wabi originally meant finding spiritual fulfillment within imperfection, poverty, roughness, sort of things, and taking pleasure in stillness and solitude. It also carries negative meanings, such as feeling neglected, being in trouble, feeling helpless, living in decline, pleading, or apologizing. In other words, the word first refers to refinement could exist within, and this inner richness itself became an object of aesthetic attention. Wabi is particularly associated with tea ceremony. There is a phrase called wabi judging, meaning a Wabi-style tea practitioner, and it is defined as one who owns nothing, relying single thoughts of the mind, a single manner of making, and single achievement. Those conditions in harmony. Tea rooms increasingly became like wabi atmosphere. The size shrinked to 4.5 tatami, that is about 8 square meters, or 3.5 tatami mat, which is about 6.4 square meters, sometimes even smaller. And the entrance, called nijiriguchi, was made about half the height of regular doors. Beauty for them was found in this extreme simplicity. Of course, there are more luxury type of tea room existed, but over the time, the wabi spirit became a pillar supporting deeper meaning of the tea. And in the Edo period, wabi come to be regarded as the fundamental aesthetic of the tea ceremony. Tea masters began to define the meaning and substance more clearly, treated it as sometimes to be actively pursued. In fact, the term wabi-cha, wabi-style tea, also first appeared during Edo period. In the Meiji period, Okakura Tenshin, who is known for his painting or art and those of critic, wrote the essence of the tea in honoring the imperfect. And since the book was written in English, the concept wabi spread around beyond Japan. Sabi. Sabi refers to a beauty which quietness reveals a sense of beauty and richness. The character wabi, originally defined as deterioration over time, places one's living is quiet and lonely. From this, and Buddhism concept of impermanence and solitude, Sabi comes to signify a refined beauty born from the age, simplicity, and certain dignified austerity. In the essay called Tsurezuregusa, which means idleness. Is that right? But yeah, some kind of definition like that. Which is written by a Buddhist called Yoshida Kenko in 14th century. There are passages of adoring the charm of or lacquer scroll rods that had lost its inlay. He also writes that beauty can be not only found in perfectly bloomed flowers or perfect circle of moon, but also like bugs, wilting flowers, and the moon, which apart is hidden by clouds. By this point in history, the Japanese had clear awareness that oldness, incompleteness, and quietness could have beauty. During the Muromachi period, sabi became essentially valued in poetry like haiku and no theater, which is very traditional and classic theater. In the late 17th century, very famous haiku poet Matsuo Basho, his highly aesthetic haiku style is really admired in even today. 夏草やつわものどもが夢の後. This haiku is probably the most famous and known one within Japanese of Matsuo Basho's. And you could probably feel the Wabi-Sabi, Sabi from it. That you can see the time that passed by and how it is now. The time which was past and changed what was it before and what is it now. That kind of beauty is an example of sabi. And after Basho, sabi is becoming the central concept of haiku, well, in the way. And in haiku, sabi often appeared when describing old or time-worn object. If you want to try to express some emotion within haiku at the time, you can do it like superficially. Rather, the true essence lies under the surface. It is not about simple loneliness or sadness, but a deeper state of perfection. From this perspective, beauty arises from what seems to seep out of within the aged object, and it is not something related to their external appearance. For example, a stone will gradually grow moss in Japan's climate. People see this moss not just something on surface, but something emerged from deep within the stone over time. Wabi and Sabi in everyday for people. Tea masters out of wabi through tea. Haiku poet lived sabi through haiku. But ordinary people didn't choose wabi or sabi on their own. They lived their life really simply within unavoidable hardship and quiet austerity. To survive, they needed an inner transformation of loneliness. In other words, they had to accept the feelings that might be negative, turn to, let's say, treating themselves or considering themselves that they live in the status worth embracing. Living this way meant looking at the reality with calm detachment, accepting it, or even appreciating or cherishing the moment of the life as it is. This mindset quietly took root among ordinary people because Wabi and Sabi can be found not only tea ceremonies or haikus, but also in everyday life, and it has become an aesthetic and philosophical foundation of Japanese culture itself. Well, a part of, but a huge part of. Even today, you can see signs of wear on decorations in old temple and shrine buildings, as well as rockshore, the blue-green patina that forms on copper ornaments. When describing those kind of scenes, people might say this temple, wrapped with deep stillness, may not have any rubbish decoration, but it carries a distinct Wabi-Sabi sense. Or, when autumn leaves begin to fall, the fleeting beauty of the moment, the bare branch will left behind, and the hint of the harsh winter to come often evoke the feeling of Wabi-Sabi. One might say, in the vivid colors of these maple leaves and in the way they fall, I feel the strong sense of Wabi-Sabi. So, I'm wrapping up. Definitely, Wabi-Sabi is a part of Japanese aesthetic sense, and I think the concept is really beautiful, but unfortunately, it's kind of fading away, in my opinion. I personally would find things that had been through the time beautiful, but I'm not very sure that younger people feel in that way. That could be the reason they haven't had spent time enough to say that they're young. But when they get older and realize the meaning of the time and how time passed by, then probably, I mean, it's not probably, but each Japanese will feel wabi-sabi in their own way. I know the wabi-sabi concept or sense is different from this material-oriented world, but like antique, if I'm gonna say something about Western things, that probably has some kind of the same concept within it, I think. So wabi-sabi is, well, compared to the material world, another way to feel life's beauty, aesthetic, and living itself. They will let you to think about it, how times pass by, and yeah, they wanted to rather think it's beautiful, even though the superficial part is not, but they wanted to feel, because you and I also passes time. That is just so inevitable, and we all want to find beauty within it, or meaning within it. I think that's a part of the reason why Wabi and Sabi came to this point in Japan. As I get older and older, I probably feel more of the value of the concept of Wabi-Sabi. So, that's about it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.